Okay, so this is the current setup for today's new podcast episode. I don't even know why I'm holding my lip gloss. Do you guys like my outfit? It's very like boho. So I'm currently in Bali, and I've been in Bali for 2 months now, and I'm literally living out of wearing sarongs. They're absolutely my favorite thing to wear here, and I think I could generally live out of sarongs only. I only need sarongs. I style them into tops, into hats, into bags, into beach towels, into skirts, long, short, dresses, like t-shirts, and even like those kimonos. I can do anything and everything with a sarong, and it looks so good. It looks so chic, depending how you style it and how you style it with. And I just really adore it. And there's so many different colors and like fabrics and stuff. I also bought like those traditional Balinese sarongs, like skirt sarongs, which is a complete different fabric, but it's so beautiful. And I really feel like an absolute goddess. But anyways, we're not going to talk about sarongs and my outfit, but I just wanted to have like a little checkup with you guys about my outfit. And I'm mainly letting you guys know that I am alive. I am alive. Look, I haven't prepared anything for today's or current podcast episode, but I feel like now is just the ideal moment, because if not now, then when? And I keep postponing making a new podcast episode, and it's been more than 2 months now since I have posted a new podcast episode. It's just like, you guys, I've been struggling. I'm not gonna lie and say everything is okay, and what you see on my social media, on my Instagram, is like full reality and stuff. We all know that you can post whatever and be whoever on social media, and most of the time people are just posting, the good stuff, As you guys know, for the ones who are following me since quite some time, know that I will always try to be honest and transparent with you guys, because that's just who I am, and also to show reality on my stories. But I've been struggling so much and being challenged mentally so much for the past 2 months here in Bali that I just didn't had any energy to even talk about it or put my head at my current situation. But I feel like now I've learned how to deal with it and cooperate with it, and I feel like, crossing fingers, things are gonna work out. And so basically this podcast is about just updating you guys about my current life and what I'm learning out of it, and the challenges that I'm facing. And especially, I want to encourage people to not give up, even though it feels like impossible, that you feel like you keep banging on the same doors and they just don't open, or like they open like a little bit and then they just close right on your face again. This emotional roller coaster of like finding solutions to each problem you're facing while new problems are being created, and you're just like, give me a break. When is this gonna end? But I do believe that, everything happens for a reason. Like, always, there is always a lesson to be learned, something to be discovered about yourself or about someone or something. Whether it's like, if it's like, for example, a country you really want to live in, but maybe it turns out that it's not what you want at the end. It's maybe like something completely else, something else. Or maybe it's about the career path that you're really taught, like, this is it, this is my career path, this is exactly what I want to do. But with learning through those challenges and problems you have to face and find a solution for, you learn things about yourself and new skills. And then maybe you find out, like, hey, I can use those skills for something else. And maybe this is the reason why I thought that this was my ideal career, just in order to find myself in difficulties and learn about these new skills that I can learn for something way better than I could have think about, you know? I just believe that there's always a reason and a destination where you have to go to, and then your route towards that destination, you know, you will face some challenges, some difficulties, some, you know, problems. And these are designed specifically for you at this right amount of time for you to figure things out, you know, or to realize things, or to come across a new idea, you know. Maybe the solution to that problem you were facing is the answer to the idea you exactly needed to have a new business running up, or like, you know, just designing something completely from scratch, or something that gave an answer to a deeper question you were asking yourself since such a long time and you couldn't figure out what it was and find the answer. But this is also why traveling is important, and why I would recommend everyone that are able to travel, to experience it for yourself. Because when you travel, you will always face issues, depending as well, like, what your goals are, what the purpose is of the travel. And also, I feel like your, like, personality traits that needs more work will come at its surface, and you will have this mental battle, or like personal battle, between you and your higher self and your old self, that are trying to compete towards each other, or with each other, and where you will have to learn how to deal with yourself, if that makes sense. That will also eventually help you out of a situation, because sometimes the reason why you're in a certain situation and feeling a certain way is because how you reacted, how you responded to the messenger or the message. And sometimes it's just to hold a mirror. Sometimes the messenger is sending a mirror, and you realize, whoa, maybe you asked something to the universe. For example, it could be like, I wish to be the head of my own company and be my own boss and have a lot of freedom, and you know, what you ask you will receive, but in a different way, you know. There's still like some tests you have to go through. You can't just like expect the universe to give you anything you want just because you ask for it. If you ask for it, you will receive a test, just like everything. It's like going to an interview for a new job, or like an exam you have to pass for, you know, at school. Because everything is a test. Life is a test. Life is a game. And once you understand the rules, you can make your own rules, right? But you have to learn how to be strategic and how to react, right? How to play with the right, you know, payan, because we're all like little payons. I don't know how to say this in English, like little puppets. And you need to know what move you could take in order to have the most benefit out of it. Anyway, sometimes it's not just about the benefit, but and but yeah, so back to, for example, wanting to be the head of your own company. What do you need? What is the reality? Because you can ask things and believe in things, but then you also have to face reality, right? This is where the physical game is happening in reality. While we're also living in a parallel where your higher self already has what you are asking for today. But it just depends how you react and how you grow in order to become that person on the right frequency, right? But what does it require? It requires, patience, flexibility, strong shoulders, strong back, because you will always have to face problems, even though it's for your own company, even though you're the head and the boss of your own things. So while you're asking all of this, you receive the test. And what's the test? Facing a lot of challenges that are maybe equal or a starter package of what you will have to face once you are the head of the company as you wished. So to see if you do have the shoulders, if you do have the strong back to carry all of this, right? And to prepare. Sometimes it's just not even testing you. It's just to prepare you for what you've asked. So for me, in my situation, it is really testing my emotional stability and my endurance and my patience a lot. Nothing to do with wanting to have my own company. For me, it's more like to see if I could live here and build my own dream life here in Bali, because I am trying to leave my old life in the country where I was born. I just don't feel like I could become my full potential in that country. And I do believe as well that you will always have to follow your instincts and what your heart is saying. And with everything that I've learned so far in my life is that seeking happiness, peace, and especially listening to your intuition and your heart is exactly what you have to do to discover, the infinity, if that makes sense, the endlessness, the full potential. But nothing is for free. Everything comes with going through things, and it is so exhausting. And I've been wanting to quit a few times, but I made the same mistakes in the past when the universe gave me the same tests, but I wasn't ready because I gave up. And this is also how the universe is like, okay, you showed that you're not ready, so we cannot, cannot give what you've asked for because you're not ready. It's not good for you. And it's always for you, not against you. What happens is always with a good intention, even if it feels like absolute chaos, absolute mess, absolute delulu of the amount of issues that you can face. But it also makes you realize how strong you can be and the capacity you have that you didn't know you had. You discover so many strong facets in your own personality, and you're like, oh my God. And isn't that a little good for your ego? It's a little ego boost, knowing you're capable of so much more than you even like ever thought about. And this is, I think, this is, if you really want something, you should go for it, face it all, and grow with it, and change as a person and upgrade. But sometimes you're just like, if it's too hard, maybe it's just not meant for me, you know? And this is like kind of the phase I'm jingling between. I'm like, is it worth fighting for? What is it trying to tell me? What is it trying to show me? But then there's this hope, and there's this, there's this saying, like, always remember why you started in the first place. And when I think about this, I'm like, well, hey, I've came so far already. Why quitting? Why going back to why I've started and just, then what, Don't get me wrong, sometimes you have to take some steps back, but it depends what situation you're in, If you still can, if the possibilities are still there, if there are still possibilities, even if it's just like a week or two or whatever it takes for you to stay a little longer, then you should take those opportunities, because you never know what can happen in 1 week. If you feel like today everything is falling apart, and today you're feeling like you can't breathe anymore because it's getting too much, which is understandable, just know that if you give it just one more day or 2 days, even just 2 days, a lot can happen. You can receive a random email. You can receive a random call. You can receive that text you were waiting for and thought it would never come, but then it just came, Maybe you will meet someone while just sitting in a cafe. Okay, there we go. So, the moral of the story is, please, don't give up. If you at least just try and give it a chance and keep going and face your biggest fears, it's already a big win. And if you give up, you will never know, You will never discover what you have to discover. And what's meant for you is for you. So whatever happens will happen. And if eventually you have to go back to zero after you've tried everything, at least you've learned so much. You gained experience, knowledge, strength, growth. You gained a lot. You didn't lose anything. But at least you know that maybe after all of this effort, maybe it is not for me, but at least you've tried everything. And when you go back to point zero, you don't really go back to point zero without anything, because you didn't fail. You gained a lot. You have this package where you go to point zero, but now you know exactly what you have to do, exactly what you want. It's a redirection, So I also believe that sometimes a dream has been put in your head to try things and learn things. So we have all of these packages and experience that is going to be used for a redirection that you needed for something so much better, because there is always better, always. They say like grass is greener elsewhere, Well, technically, you can also see it metaphorically, that the grass is greener elsewhere. It will just come to you when the time is right, and then you go there, and then again you see things, you learn things, and you go to another better grass. And this is how you will evolve as a person, gain things, until the time is right for what's next or what's meant for you, and finally be able to build whatever you want to do, whatever you want to build, or whatever, who you want to be, what you want to do, meet the right person, meet your partner, meet, finally you will get what you want when you're ready for it. So if you don't get what you want right now, it means you're just really not ready. If you want to hear this or not, it means that you have so many more things to discover and more things to work on. That's how I see it, and how when you start to see things in a certain way, it can be very motivating as well, and you can helps you to halven the weight you're carrying, right? And everything depends as well how you carry the weight. Do you choose to carry it full on and give it that much power on you, or do you choose to just go with the flow? And I know it's so much easier to say. And I think this is also one of the lessons I had to learn while facing all of these challenges. And I'm still not done. I'm still in the middle of it, and I genuinely don't know what to do and what's next and where I will be tomorrow. I genuinely don't have the answer, and sometimes you don't have to. Even if it feels very uncomfortable, but there is some comfort in not having the answer if you think about it. If you don't know, you don't know. It's as simple as that. And every single time I face a new problem, a new challenge, a new external factor that is trying to steal my peace, I'm actually laughing. I'm like, of course. Let's go. Let's face it. Just another thing. It's not surprising me anymore. But this is a sign of growth as well, and how to deal with things, and just say, okay, breathe. Feel whatever you want to feel. Feel whatever you have to feel. Now we're going to react. We're going to think about it and see what we can do. What do we have in our own hands in order to make the situation lighter? What can I do? What's in my control that I can do? Anything else that's out of my control, I can't do anything about it. I just have to accept it. And sometimes it's hard and it's frustrating because you want to move on, but you can't move on because of the bricks, the wall that has been built around you that are like, hey, no, you can't move on just yet. So yeah, that's the core of this little chat that I really wanted to have with you guys, and just as a little update of my life, and to know that, hey, I did not forget about you guys. I never forget about you guys. It's just my podcast channel is really means a lot to me, and I can't just not think about it. It's just that sometimes my head is so chaotic that I just don't find enough strength to just sit down with a good moral, a strong moral, and explain things, if that makes sense. And like I said, I already evolved and get past my first test, and it can only get better from now on. That's what I really believe, and that's why I'm sitting here talking with enough strength and power to share this knowledge and share what I've learned so far, and maybe be a support for someone else that really needs it right now, because I really needed this support and myself. And you know what? Despite those challenges and mental battles, I met some very good people here in Bali that I didn't even had to talk to for a month, and they never left me in those difficult times, even if I just knew them for 2 days, which is crazy, I know. I know, but there are some good souls out there. And gosh, so grateful and thankful that I've met them at that specific moment in my life, and really helped me to balance out my moods from time to time and just be like, okay, you're right, I got this, And yeah, I really hope I can be that person for you right now. If you're listening to this podcast episode and you're really like, I don't know what to do anymore. I just don't see it. I don't see a way. I feel like I'm stuck and I'm getting eaten by my fears and discomfort. Just know that there's always a way, but sometimes you have to let time surprise you. And it sounds very magical, very scary at the same time. But trust me, a lot can happen if you just leave it for what it is. Because it's out of your control anyway. Things can happen, you just don't know. As long as you just put your little seeds and your little bits of things that you can do, like writing this email, writing this text to your friend, uploading the video anyway, or dressing yourself cute, having a shower, having a little tea, just 10 minutes of this connection, that's already a lot. That's already what you can do, and will really be that one thing you needed to do in order to find the answer. Go to that coffee shop, just sit there, have your favorite drink, and maybe, just maybe, someone will come sit next to you, start talking to you, and was exactly what you needed, or who you needed. You never know. Go for that walk. Go to the store. Go sit down and watch that movie. And maybe one of the actors is going to say a phrase that's going to stick into your mind and be that little eureka moment that you needed. You don't know. Nothing is a waste of time when you invest it right into yourself and your peace. Because with peace comes answers. Even though you're not feeling at peace. But yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. And hey, we got this. We really got this. Okay? Keep going. I believe in you as much as I believe in myself, because I know I got myself. And yeah, everything will be okay. Anyways, I enjoyed this little chat. That was exactly what I needed. And honestly, gave me so much energy to do whatever I want to do. And I'm at the beach, which is a perfect place to have mental breakdowns. And sometimes you just have to be a little grateful for what you have. Anyways, I really have a hard time closing podcast episodes. It's something I really have to work on, but I always want to keep on talking. But I think that was exactly what we needed. Enough. And I will see you in the next one. I don't know when that is, but I promise you will see me again. Bye-bye.